Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher, and in this video I would like to talk about the insanity of identity politics. First, let us look at this story. White Las Vegas officer charged in chokehold death of black man. Now, first of all, look at this guy's picture. Does he look white to you? Something's not quite right. He looks more like a mix of some kind to me, maybe Latino and white, you know. I mean, this is very disingenuous to call this guy a white guy, because just by looking at his picture, he doesn't look like your run-of-the-mill white guy to me. Not that it would matter if he was. This is just more identity politics. You are white, you are evil, white man. There was a conspiracy among white people. Yes, all white people out there are whispering to each other, psst, hey, did the white coalition... the coalition of all white people tell you that you should hate blacks? No, they didn't tell me yet. Yeah, you're supposed to hate black people, so go out and hate them. And are you a police officer? Yeah, I'm a police officer. Okay, when you get a chance, kill one of them, would you? Okay. I mean, come on. What are they trying to convince people? They are trying to convince people there's some kind of conspiracy among white people. I mean, leftists, you know, in the back of their mind, they're thinking that, you know, oh, there's some kind of massive conspiracy among all whites that just hate any minority. Yeah. Okay. This was like when George Zimmerman case, when Trayvon Martin was killed. They said he was a white man, but it turned out he wasn't. He was half Latino. Any opportunity they can get to spin a story to make white people look evil, they take it. Now, this guy, he does not look like a white guy to me. And I searched online. I searched for nationality. I searched for everything. I couldn't find anything about this guy and his nationality, which I find rather suspicious. You would think they would have done some research. I'm looking into that as I obsessed with identity politics as the left and especially the media is. So let's go into this story a bit more, shall we? Officer Kenneth Lopera, charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of a black man, is seen in this booking photo released by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. Okay. A white police officer. Yeah, he don't look white. I'm sorry. I don't think he's white. I could be wrong, though. White police officer in Las Vegas was arrested on Monday and charged with... Why do we care if he's white? Why can't you just say it's a police officer, okay? You just say it's a police officer. Who cares that he's supposedly white? What does it matter? Charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of a black man held in a chokehold for more than a minute, officials said. Okay, this has nothing to do with white man, black man. First of all, chokeholds are 100% completely banned in all police departments because they can lead to death. You're not supposed to use them, okay? Remember that fat black guy that was selling the single cigarettes, and he basically resisted arrest, and they put him in a chokehold, and they killed him? And the officer in that case wasn't indicted. Now, this was a bad move by this officer. Putting this guy in a chokehold, restraining him in this way, not good. But we don't know the circumstances. Was he alone? Were there other officers there? I'm not necessarily sure that a chokehold should be 100% barred, because what if you are alone? It's one of the very few ways that you will most certainly be able to restrain someone if you're by yourself. I mean, overpowering someone isn't always an option, but if you can get them in a chokehold, you absolutely positively can restrain them. Could death be a possible outcome if somebody isn't trained properly? Yes. And even if they are, it can happen, most certainly. But there needs to be some context to this situation, which of course they will not give us. They will just say, oh, white man, black suspect, boom, and he's going to the nightly news. Officer Kenneth Lopera was charged. On the same day, the Clark County Coroner's Office ruled the May 14th death of Tashi Farmer, 40, near the Las Vegas Strip was a homicide due to police restraint. This is very interesting. Other cases like this, they haven't been charged. Not that I'm saying it's right or wrong. I would need more details about the case, which is why I don't like the way they jump to conclusions so much in these articles and the way they report them. The coroner also found Farmer's enlarged heart and methamphetamine intoxication were contributing factors. Okay, there we go. So this is just some virtue signaling from the left, okay? The officer couldn't possibly have known that the guy's enlarged heart and the fact that he was intoxicated on methamphetamine could possibly lead to death. If this guy hadn't had an enlarged heart, if he hadn't been smoking dope, he probably would have lived. The two charges of involuntary manslaughter and oppression under color of office brought against Lopera, which could each carry a sentence of 4 years in prison if he is convicted, follow a number of deaths of unarmed black men at the hands of the police in the United States. No! What number? Well, give us the number! Give us the number of unarmed. When you say number, is it 2? Is it 1? Is it 58? What's the number? Consequently, folks, the number is extremely low, okay? Most black suspects who are shot because they are resisting or trying to resist with deadly force, or they are armed. Very few black suspects are killed who are unarmed. Very few. In fact, in 2016, only 16 unarmed black men were shot. And I don't know the specific details, but the majority of those cases were deemed justified, meaning that just because somebody is technically unarmed doesn't mean they are not a threat, okay? 16. Now, this article makes it sound like it's 1,600. No, only 16. And while you might think, oh, well, 16 is a hell of a lot still, you're talking about a country of 330 million people. And just to say that someone is unarmed, that doesn't even mean it's not justified. And the way they're writing this article, you would think it was a hell of a lot more than 16. So, the two charges of involuntary manslaughter and oppression under color of office brought against Lopera, which could each carry a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison if he is convicted, follow a number of deaths of unarmed black men at the hands of the police in the United States that have spawned protests and the Black Lives Matter movement, of course. So charges are being brought against him more because of politics than anything else, okay? Him restraining this guy might have been totally justified. Totally justified. And even though the chokehold, as I said before, is banned in almost, if not all, police departments, I'm not going to make a blanket statement and say it's never justified in its use. We have to look at the context of a situation. Yeah, the left doesn't want us to look at context. They just want to apply blanket definitions to everything. And this is always wrong. This is always racist. This is always Islamophobic. This is how I'm going to control you. There's no context to anything. But of course there is context, and we don't know the details. And yet this is jumping to judgment when it says, oh, there's been a rash of black unarmed men being killed by police, which infers that there's some kind of injustice going on, that there's some kind of willful negligence, that there's some kind of willful malice on the part of the police to kill unarmed black men, which is not true. The charges are the result of the coroner's findings, along with evidence gathered from video surveillance, police body-worn cameras, and witness statements. Come on, you know, this guy was wearing a body cam. I mean, he clearly was, I can't say that he was clearly going by the book, but the odds are that, you know, this is not why they're pressing charges. I don't know all the details, though, all right? So now I'm speculating. True. Las Vegas Sheriff Joseph Lombardo, who oversees the police department that employs Lopera, said at a news conference. Farmer, who also went by the last name Brown, approached the officer on May 14th inside the Venetian Hotel, saying he believed people were chasing him. Police have said. Farmer, who was sweating and looked panicked, then ran into a restricted area. So he was out of his mind on drugs. That guy was sweating profusely. He was out of his mind on drugs. Okay, next. Lopera ran after Farmer, catching up to him outside the hotel when he tried to arrest Farmer, police have said. So now, after they've wound you up with this whole bullshit narrative, they're going to try and give you some facts. But of course, they've already biased a lot of the readers into believing this guy is somehow a hunter of black men and a black man hater. Even though he don't look like a white man to me, they say look, he's a white man. Okay, I guess anybody whose skin is not particularly brown is a white man. With hotel security guards helping him, the officer used a taser in an okay, so now it's okay. Now now we're getting the context here. So he tried to tase the guy, which is perfectly acceptable, but the guy was so hyped up on meth that it didn't work. So he tried to stun him into submission and later held him in a chokehold, according to police. Now, the chokehold, we don't even know how severe the chokehold was. Now, a chokehold can result in unconsciousness. It's very rare for it to result in death. However, this guy was hyped up on drugs, and he had an enlarged heart, so that contributed to it. Was it irresponsible to use the chokehold? Maybe. If he had hotel security guards with him, and there probably was another way to do it. He made a mistake. He screwed up. So he might be guilty of the crime he's being charged with. I have to see more evidence. But saying it's because he was white, and they imply that when they make the name of the article, white man, another white man kills another black man, which implies that it's going on all the time, and it's because he's white and the other guy's black. Identity politics in motion, people. After Lopera released Farmer from the chokehold, Farmer was no longer breathing. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Yes, and what about his responsibility for being a meth head, which contributed to his death? Oh, no, that's not highly focused on. Only the fact that this guy is supposedly white. Lopera, who has been placed on unpaid leave, was arrested and booked into jail on Monday. The Las Vegas Police Protective Association paid $6,000 to have him released on bail, according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, citing the police union's president, Steve Gramas. We will be representing the officers to the fullest extent that we can, Gramas told the newspaper. Gramas could not be reached for comment on Monday. Lopera tried to arrest Farmer because the officer believed he was trying to hijack a truck. But investigators later concluded Farmer would not have been charged with a crime for his actions had he lived, police have said. Well, of course not. You can't charge somebody with manslaughter if they're not slaughtered. Duh. So, again, I think that this officer practiced very poor judgment. He was not alone. They finally got to the facts of the case, which is what they should have started with, instead of giving us this long, drawn-out narrative about stuff that was in no way related to this case, but about how many black men are being killed by white officers throughout the whole goddamn world, especially in America, and black people are so oppressed. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And then they get to the story. So this is what I'm talking about, about the fake news. The fake news, it's how they report the news. It's how they report it. It's this liberal bias spin that they give you. It's this narrative, this run-up to every story before they give you the details that biases you in the favor of what they want you to believe. That's what the fake news is. And it really pisses me off, because there's so many people out there who are very easily influenced, very easily manipulated, and they're already leaning toward the left because of the indoctrination they've gotten within school and from the media. And so they buy into this narrative, and they read it, they believe it, and then they get to the story, and then they assume facts that are not in evidence based on the liberal spin bullshit that the media has given you, running up to just the actual facts of the story, which is all they should be giving you. So, is this guy white? Is he half white, half black? I mean, he could be half white, half Latino. I mean, that's like calling Obama a white man when it's convenient for you, and then a black man when it's convenient for you. I don't think this guy is pure Caucasian. I mean, look at him. He really looks like some kind of mix to me. Not that it's relevant. Identity politics should have nothing to do with it. Calling this guy white man is very disingenuous. And even alluding to his race is ridiculous. But of course, that's identity politics in motion. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.